How's it going, everybody? Let's see here. There we are. Got everything all in place properly. There we are. Perfect. All right. How are we all doing? Let's see here. Cool. As you can see, we're set up a little bit different than normal. Nat's above me. And he's on screen right away. It's been a busy week. We didn't have a whole lot of time to get things prepped, so I know how much fun we all have with those entrances, but unfortunately we had to skip out on this week. So just imagine something really cool happened and tell everyone about it. And just, it was only live.
but it does work out good because we finally got these books in just on Monday. These are our homage covers. They're finally in. I love these books, and they're still for sale. So anybody who wants a set, it's $50 for a set. Let us know. Claim below.
Yeah, that's the homage set there is the ones right behind you. So if you duck your head down, people can see them a little bit. You're almost a part of the art.
I'm in the Matrix.
Okay, well, let's get into things here. Right away, we'll jump in and well, you know what? You're on screen today. Let's get you to do our shout out to our friends there.
Sure. I always want to thank out Ashley at 204 Comics. He provides us our books for review and just our books for our own PC and that. Tyler can go over the deals for what he does for his pull box subscription deals because they're pretty good ones. So here they are.
Yeah, that's the same thing we go over every week, and they're great deals. You get your pull box there, minimum 3 titles, and you get American cover price and 10% off that on all new books from your pull list and just new books off the shelf. So wicked deal there as always. I don't think too many shops in the city actually have a deal that good, so that's a perk for going there too. And even submissions and grading through him really good too. I got this Ultimate Fallout second print back just about a week or two ago, and it was not rough shape, but for what it was a bit more beaten up, and it came back a 9.0. So even that, he does awesome work there with his submissions, cleaning, pressing, and all that. So definitely go to him if you need any of that. And our other friend too, who just had his big opening this weekend, and we heard it went pretty well. They got lots of stuff going on there, and that's Justin at Big Country Comics. So thanks to Justin, and yeah, let's get everything fully rolling now. I think what we're gonna do this week, rather than jump into the comics right away, we'll start off with What If, because I'll be totally honest, I only read a couple books this week. I was busy. So I'll jump in here and there, but we'll see how it goes. I'll be on the viewer side of things for the most part. But yeah.
I know it all. Don't worry. I'll still give you my informed opinions.
So What If Episode 2? What if T'Challa became a Star-Lord? Personally, I think this episode was much better than the first. It wasn't just a rehash of what Guardians #1, kind of like what Episode 1 was, with Captain Carter just being a different telling of Captain America, the First Avenger. Not that it was bad, it was still good, but this was a completely brand new story, and it was awesome. And again, just like the last episode, a ton of the voice cast came back. One person I was surprised didn't come back, or if he did a really bad job with his voice, was Benicio del Toro as the Collector. Derek, yeah, this is spoiler free. Yeah, we won't be going over too much. Just a super general.
Everything is spoiler free. Benicio del Toro that was his voice, but I agree it didn't sound like him at all because I did see his name in the credits in the beginning. And somebody else who I didn't think sounded like them in the movie was Drax. So I don't know if that was actually
That
Bautista or not.
that actually wasn't Batista, and he's a
Yeah,
little bit salty about it because apparently he was never even approached to come back and do it.
yeah, I'm surprised because yeah, that totally didn't sound like it, and it was a little surreal at first to hear Chadwick Boseman, no voice, talking as T'Challa, knowing that but by the time it was coming out, he wasn't going to be able to see it, knowing that he was going to be, passing beforehand. But
Hmm.
yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it. I thought it was. I enjoyed the fact that it was a little bit more original than the other episode, and the artwork or the animation is still amazing. And yeah, but it was actually really funny. It seemed like this one, being more Guardian centric, had a lot more humor involved to it, and it was funny. It was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I like the twist that they did with the Ravagers this time, and I liked the new Guardians team they'd made up for that, and it sounds like T'Challa's a way better Star Lord than Star Lord even is. So, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah, they've
that's
had
not hard. He's pretty good.
ton of cameos in there. So
Yeah, a ton of cameos. What else? There was one more thing I wanted to say. I don't remember now. I got so caught up. Oh, I think you were talking about Chadwick Boseman. Um, I I don't know if he's ever done any other voice work for stuff, but as for someone that I've seen just as an on-screen actor, I thought he did a really good job voice acting.
yeah, it
Because
was
some of
good.
the other people, like with Peggy Carter in the last one, I thought her fight scenes were a little bit weird. Just sounded like she was talking, or if she was running, just sounded like she was talking. But you can really hear like he's moving around in the studio, getting that work in, like Mark Hamill does with Joker or any other role. He really sounds like he's actually doing it.
Yeah, it was very good. I was quite impressed with that. And it
Yeah.
wasn't sad. I thought at first I might be sad to hear his
Hmm.
voice in that, but it wasn't at all. And I think because it was funny right away, so that's good.
Yeah, and they did have a nice little memorial at the end there, and that was a
Yeah,
little sad, but I think they did it very tastefully.
I agree.
But we'll move on to some a little less somber. We'll go to the new X-Men book that just came out this week, The Trial of Magneto. This is carrying over from just the last event that happened, where spoiler alert, don't look at the cover. Um, Scarlet Witch is dead, and it looks like Magneto's to blame.
Yeah, that's what it kind of looks like, and that's what this first issue is all about. Really, it's uh, you got Leah Williams doing the writing, and you got Lucas Wernick doing the art. And the Scarlet Witch has been murdered. She was killed at the end of the gala there. And there's multiple X teams now investigating it, kind of like all CSI style and whatnot.
Hmm.
And everything turns and points to Magneto. And it's really, really strong and sharp artworks. I like that, and it was very detailed and it was enjoyable. And I liked it. I liked it a lot more than I thought it was. You get a little bit of evil Magneto in there as everybody starts to kind of surround him and want to take him in and question and stuff, and just shows how powerful he can be in that. But yeah, I'm actually looking forward to reading it. The rest where I wasn't beforehand. So
Well, and personally, I don't read a whole lot of X-Men comics, and me to hear that Magneto is actually being put as a villain again seems to be something that hasn't been done in a while. Because he's
mhm.
usually almost leading the X-Men half the time, it seems.
Yeah, and when I was reading this too, it felt like I was reading an older X Men, and it didn't feel like I was reading like that new Hickman stuff. So that made it a little bit more enjoyable too.
Hmm. Another one that was pretty enjoyable this week is the Kang book. And obviously, Kang's a huge, huge character right now. And I'm sure this book was done well in advance, knowing that he was going to show up in different Marvel projects. But I like the art in this one. If
Yeah.
if nothing else, I thought the art was on point with this one. Even the covers, every cover's been good. Up here we have cover A. I got the headshot cover. That's one of
Oh,
the
you
variants.
didn't get the Scotty Young one?
I couldn't find it. I was
Oh,
strapped for time. I ran in and out. I think I'll be making another trip out tomorrow, maybe for the Scotty Young one, because that was on my list.
you always get Scotty Young.
Yeah.
Yeah, the artwork in this book is great. Actually, every book this week has really really good artwork. Everything stood out. I like, all artwork. I like things that are a little abstract and, different looking in it too. But I also like a lot of realistic artwork, and that's what a lot of these books had this week. So with
Hmm.
King the Conqueror from Marvel, it's the first of I think it's a 5-issue limited series, but I could be wrong. But it's definitely a limited series.
Yeah, I don't
You got
remember how many issues they're supposed to be getting.
it's either 5 or 6. You got Jackson Lansing on and Colin Kelly doing the writing, and then you got Carlos Magno on the art. And like I said, you got sharp, detailed, and very very clean art. It's perhaps an origin story of Kang. It's kind of like Cobra Commander or Skeletor. There's lots of origins. We don't know which one is the real one, or it could be any of them because there's multiple versions of them. So old Kang kind of takes a young Kang to train him, and he's super cruel. Like old Kang is kind of a dick, and he just constantly abusing young Kang and stuff like that. And he's going to teach him how to learn from all his mistakes and that. And at the end of the issue, the young king is kind of starting to rebel against the old king. So it was a good story, and again, I'm interested. I want to read more of it. So I think it's a good start.
It kind of reminds me of what they did years back with like an older version of Loki, with like Ickle, right, or Eichel, however you like to pronounce it, and Kid Loki, and how they're
Yeah,
just totally polar opposites. Same person, but one's going one way and one's so polar opposite the other.
yeah, it's great. I wasn't I wasn't expecting too much for that, and I thought it was just going to be like a tie-in, not a tie-in necessarily, but a book that came out because it was kind of linked to the Kang stuff in the Loki show. But no, it was good. I think it could lead to other good stuff. So hopefully it does.
Mm-hmm. And next up, we've got our obligatory Star Wars book of the week. There was quite a few this week, and this one I'm kind of a fanboy for Darth Vader, and this one focuses quite a bit on Darth Vader, and you cannot get enough of this cover. That is a very, very, very cool cover. But anytime you have Star Wars covers with Darth Vader and Boba Fett, you're gonna get a wicked cover anyway. But yeah, like I said, this one it's super Darth Vader centric, and that's good because I wish the Vader comics came out a little bit earlier, or I wish he showed up in the other comics as much as he used to back during the second volume. But it's still them hanging out at the Crimson Dawn's gala there, and Vader showed up at the end of the last issue, and I think he showed up at the end of a couple of issues there. I don't know what was
Because
happening with the
they're
writing.
all happening at the same time,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah, and it starts off that Boba Fett's messing around. It looks like he's going to be the one to cause a big ruckus, but it's actually Vader, and he ends up getting into a bit of a tussle with a few people, and by the end of it, he's got the upper hand, it seems. And as always with these books, the artwork is stellar. I don't think there's really any series that has as great constant artwork as all the Star Wars books.
they're good. Each, like you said, every week we seem to have one, no matter what. And pardon me, right before the show started, we realized we didn't have one. So you dug out that one because that's one you normally read. And yeah, everything you said is true. It's good artwork. It was this month's. Everyone all is at that same event, so everyone had to kind of get their books all caught up to the same point. So I'm more forward or looking forward to all of next month's books to see what happens now because everything's all at the same point. So yeah, I'm more excited now to see what happens afterwards as to seeing what happens in this issue because we kind of knew what was happening in this issue because we've seen it from the other books. So
Yeah, there's been quite a bit of overlap. So if you're reading all the books, it kind of seems like a lot is repeating, but it's kind of what's happening on the left side of the room and what's happening on the right side of the room.
yeah, exactly. Everyone's own perspective.
Yeah. Got a few more people joining here. Christopher and Taz, how are you guys doing?
Give some shout outs because I can't see it.
Yeah, you should just open it up on your phone. I don't know why we haven't set you up with that yet.
Oh, because I'm dumb.
Let's jump over to our one DC book this week. I think was it last week or week before we had loads and loads, and now we've just got one, and that's Batman Secret Files on Clown Hunter. This is one
Yeah,
I actually didn't read myself. He hasn't interested me too much of a character. I think he's a neat idea, but I don't like all these Joker spin-off characters like Punchline and such.
I like the Clown Hunter because I thought at first when he was being talked about, like originally, I thought he was going to be like one of those Joker spin-off characters, but he's actually not. He just goes after clowns and stuff like that. So I mean, he's kind of tied in, but I mean, everyone's kind of tied in somehow. So, but it's good. I like this one. It was by Ed Brisson doing the writing, and he's always a great writer. And you got Rosie Comrie doing the art. And I like the art in here too. Again, another book, like I said earlier, all very clean, sharp artwork. Um, this book is again, I won't say it's an origin because they've already had an origin for him. It just goes into like some more backstories and stuff of what was going on, and it's he's a cool character. He gets currently he gets ambushed by a bunch of clowns who are he thinks he's taking them out one by one, and they're just kind of setting him up for a trap. And I won't say who it is behind it all. And he ends up getting ambushed and almost gets kind of wiped out. And then one of the Bat family members shows up to rescue him. And it's not who you would think it would be. And this person actually offers to train him, because he can kind of relate in that. But the Clown Hunter actually still doesn't want any help, he says, and ends up taking off in that. But we find out in the book that Clown Hunter, again, was a kid that was always getting bullied. Mm-hmm. And no matter even when he snapped and stuff like that, it never seemed to make a difference because there's always, the numbers were always against them. And that's what kind of what this book was about, too. Like, he's just one person against all these other people. So he has no fear of dying. He's going to just go until he can't. But I think he's going to start to realize that he needs some help. You can't just go in there with a bat and expect to survive. So I think that's going to start happening here. And I wouldn't be surprised if he does start training with this one member, and it all kind of leads forward to what's going on in the future state stuff where they think the Red X, is that his name? Red X?
Yep.
Red X is I was thinking Red Robin. Red X is, a lot of people think that he is Clown Hunter. So it kind of starting all to make sense. So we'll see. That's why I was interested in it. And they both had two cool covers, so A and B.
I was gonna say the B cover for this one's really cool too. Actually, almost all of DC's B covers lately have been really, really good.
Yeah, that's what we've been saying a lot too.
One thing I want to call attention to is just the series itself. Batman Secret Files have been really good, and a couple weeks ago they had that Huntress one.
Yeah,
and I know Huntress is still a Bat family character as well, but I like to see the attention getting called to these characters that aren't quite in the limelight anymore. Not so much Clown Hunter, he is a newer character, but like Huntress as well, and it's nice to give them a little bit of a boost, a little bit, reintroduction into modern comics.
Yeah, I think a lot of these things too, they're trying placing seeds to see what kind of IPs take off.
Yeah, it seems DC's sort of doing the opposite of Marvel, where if it works on screen, they do it in the book. But DC's going the other way, where if it works on the book, they're going to try and do it on the screen. It's weird to see that reverse dynamic.
Yeah, but I think that's what they're doing. But because again, a lot of these characters we are seeing now are younger characters too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of following the trend. But what's our next book?
Our next book has some of the best covers of the week, I think, personally, is Eat the Rich.
Oh, yes.
We've got cover A up on the screen there. I got cover B for myself.
Yeah, I had covers B or C in the preview there, the Jenny Frison cover.
Yeah, and did you have C or did you have the ratio or the store?
I didn't have the ratio then, but I got the ratio today.
Yeah, so these are all really, really nice covers. And the interior artwork, too. I had a quick flip through it before the show. Like I said, I had just gotten home. So I had a quick flip through it, and the interior art's really nice. And I found the coloring really nice. Really bold colors. And it's not a detailed coloring like some of the other stuff would be, like Star Wars was. It's kind of like what the cover shows. Like there's some solid colors, but they're just really, really bold and stand out on each page.
Yeah, I thought the artwork reminded me of kind of like a little bit Mignola, but a little bit more sophisticated, like Darwin Cook, like the guy that did New Frontier and stuff like that for DC.
Yeah.
So again, yeah, really nice work in that, but kind of a really warped story. And I knew that going in because I've been waiting for this book for a while, and it was really good. So you got Eat the Rich One from Boom Studios, which is one of our favorite publishers, Boom.
Hmm.
You got Sarah Gailey doing the writing, and then you got Pius Bach on the on art. So I apologize if I said his name wrong. Like Tyler was saying, I love all the covers for this, especially the Jenny Frison one. I'm a huge Jenny Frison fan. What the story is for this is you got a girl who's going to visit her with her boyfriend, visit her boyfriend's family for the summer, kind of like going up to like the rich country club estate kind of place. They're going up there for the summer after graduating law school, and immediately she feels like an outsider amongst these people. She feels like she's below these people, and these are like the uber rich and stuff. They have like multiple dining rooms in their homes, and servants to servants and stuff like that. So she feels very, very awkward because she's just not that person. And then throughout the day, as they're there, they have like a party that evening and stuff like that, and all the neighbors and stuff are there, and they start having like this weird roast to a retiring groundskeeper for somebody in the neighborhood, and it just gets really personal and stuff. Like it's not even just like kind of like fun jabs. They start making jabs to everybody in the whole neighborhood, and like they're almost like offensive and that. So that was kind of weird too, and she felt weird about that. And then she walks away from the party for a little bit, and then she finds that I don't want to spoil it too much, but the title kind of leads to it that these rich people actually eat people. So she finds that these rich people are actually prepping some food for that party and whatnot, and you wait to see who the food is. So yeah, kind of a creepy, disturbing thing, kind of like a Tales from the Dark Side kind of book.
Much more
It's
toned
only
down than Red Room, like we talked
oh yeah
about last
yeah
week or the week
it's not
before.
gory at all.
Not
No,
not quite as gory.
no, not gory at all. And but it reminds me of that movie. It was out a few years ago. It was like a big horror movie. It was from Jordan Peele, and it was like the one black guy going to visit his girlfriend's rich family out in the woods there,
Oh,
and they trying to was it They Live or something like that, or do you know what I'm talking about?
yeah, it's on
Yeah,
the
where
tip of
he
my
can't
tongue.
escape and they drug him and they end up like lobotomizing people. It kind of gives you that creepy feel, but with the cannibalism. So
Yeah,
yeah, that was a good book. That was my pick of the week.
I think
That was
that'll end up being a lot of people's pick of the week.
yeah. Well, there's that one, and there's the which could be right up there with my almost the same pick of the week or my 1B pick of the week is we have it on the list later on, and that's that larger kind of weird size Gods of Tremor book.
And that's actually our next book up is that Gods of Tremor. This is
Oh,
one
there
that
you
I
go.
didn't get a chance to get to this week.
This one is a neat one. It's a one shot from Aftershock,
Mhm.
which again I was expecting for a while too because I just really like looking for stuff in advance. And it
And
is
Aftershock's another one. We have at least one book a week, it seems, if not more. They're putting out a lot of titles and a lot of really good work lately.
yeah, they are for sure. Yeah, we really like them. The so you got Peter Milligan writing, and then you got Piotr, depending how you want to say it, Kowalski doing the art. And it's a neat book. It's definitely, if it wasn't for the weird size, it would definitely make it for my book of the week. But because it's a one-shot story, the whole story's enclosed in it. That actually makes it me want to have it for my pick a week because Eat the Rich is only the partial part of the story. So that's why they're separate. But this book is it's the tagline on the back is you got a 19th century Gothic horror tale of exorcism, demon worship, and epilepsy, and that's totally accurate. You got a boy who had back in the I don't know 1800s or whatever. He develops epilepsy, and he has it pretty severe. So he's about a teenage boy. I think he says 16. His dad is super religious. He's like a minister type of guy. He's always, his type of religion is always like, no punishment, flogging and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The dad gets so embarrassed of and everybody did back then because they didn't understand epilepsy. When people would have seizures, they thought they were possessed or had demons about them and stuff. So the dad ends up keeping the kid out, totally sequestered into his house and beats him every day and flogs him every day, trying to exorcise these demons out of him when it just has epilepsy. One day the kid managed to escape everybody's custody for a little while and takes off into the woods a little bit where he keeps hearing voices in his head. And he comes across this big stone idol, and the stone idol is just like he can hear it in his head, and that stone idol is the god of tremors, and he says that he's the one causing him to have these tremors, and that's his I'm your god, so you got to worship me and stuff like that. So it ends up continuing on and stuff like that, and eventually the dad ends up wandering into the woods type of thing, and coming across the idol and stuff like that, and the idol kind of gets his revenge and stuff. So again, I don't want to go into it too much and wreck it all for everybody, but it's a great. It's only $7. It's a huge graphic novel. It's very thick. It's a good deal. It's a good story. I could see this becoming something else. Not that should matter if you want to buy a book or not, but it's a great story and awesome artwork, and it's self-contained. So I think everyone should try that one out.
Derek was just telling us one of the books he grabbed here was The Heroes Union by Binge Books.
And, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, I hadn't heard of it, so I just looked it up here real quick, and it's a really neat one. I'm actually just gonna throw that up on the screen in case no one else has seen that one yet, because and you'll have to see this one later.
I will. I'll check it out.
I'll check this one out because I hadn't heard about this one. It looks super neat.
Thanks for the suggestion, man.
I really like just that cover. It looks like a classic, almost JLA style cover. Really liking the look of that one, actually.
And that for anybody else, if you come across different or new books or something that nobody else might have seen, or you just really like that you think other people might be interested in, let us know. We love to point this stuff out. That's the whole idea of our show. So
yeah,
thanks, man.
Yeah, it's your show as much as ours. So let's work as a team and point stuff out. Like along the lines of ones I hadn't even heard of is our next book here, Elric Dreaming City.
This book was actually supposed to come out last week, and it got pushed back for whatever reason. This is another one of those smaller companies that doesn't seem to get too much attention. It's from Titan Comics, and it's Elric, the Dreaming City. And what these comics are, they're all adaptations of the Elric literature. I don't want to say classic literature, but they have like there's quite a history and series of the Elric books, kind of like Conan and stuff like that. But in this one, it's you got Julian Bondell and Jean-Luc Cano doing the writing, and then you got Julian Talo doing the art. And it's beautiful art. Like that's, if anything for this book, you want to pick it up. Everything seems to be like just beautifully. I don't know if it's hand painted or digitally painted or what, but beautifully painted art. So I enjoyed it just for that. It's kind of a combination of a Conan / Witcher style of art and story. Again, it's adapted from the book series, and it's a nice book. It's not even just a nice story and art, but it's got good cardstock and really nice paper inside too. So, and again, there was about 4 or 5 covers for this, and each one had a great cover too. And I especially liked cover A, which was the by Mignola there. So, yeah, good book. I wasn't expecting that either. Although I wanted to read it, I wasn't expecting such nice artwork inside, which was another nice bonus. So yeah, one of my recommendations to check out.
Cool. I was just responding to a couple of things while you went on that one.
Yeah, that's cool.
Next up is, I think we talked about this one last week. Just you and I personally. and I was asking you what it was, and you gave me a quick idea of what it was, and I think you even said you read it this week, and you were surprised by how much you enjoyed it. It's Killer Queens #1 from Dark Horse.
Oh yes, yeah. Yeah, the Killer Queens one. Me and you had actually first heard about it, I guess, about 2 or 3 months ago when we first were looking at, getting into the exclusive cover game, and that was one of the books we had looked at. And yeah, it's from David M. Boer and Claudia Balboni doing the art. And I was gonna review and get this book no matter what because it's #1, and I like to look at new stuff and that, but wasn't really looking for it too much because I thought it was going to be too in your face, like, not cancel culture per se, but in your face with like, being gay and all that. And it really wasn't. It was super funny. Like it was like I won't say like almost like offensive gay humor and stuff like that, but it was just a good, funny, book with a lot of gay innuendos and just sexual innuendos in general. Again, it has more beautiful art, and it's kind of like a silly space buddy type of movie with extremely gay alien characters, and there's lots of like I said, lots of funny innuendos and quite a bit of fourth wall breaking as well too. So uh, I wasn't expecting to like this one as much as I did, so I want to check it out. And I know I say it a lot. If I think that's a good book, it could be made into like a property or something like that. But again, this is something that could be totally, ripe to go onto TV or something. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Is
It's
this
very, very
one
silly, but
is this one you'd say is a more of a direct comedy or a bit more satirical?
direct. Like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, it's straight up a direct comedy for sure. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
That's good. That's good.
yeah. It's just plain silly
Yeah. It looks like it from the cover.
and very adult.
Next up, we've got The Box. And I think that's another one you said you actually really, really enjoyed this week. That's not
Well,
one I hadn't gotten a chance to read.
I did enjoy it, but I was a little disappointed, and not because it let me down or anything. Because again, that was another one that we had looked at a long time ago. But let me go over the info here first. You got The Box #1 by Red 5, and again, another company that doesn't put out a whole lot of books, but Red 5 puts out some pretty neat ones every once in a while. So you got Joshua Starnes on the writing, and you got Raymond Estrada doing art. And again, another book with super cool art. It's shadowy and it's very gritty art, which works good for this book because it's kind of it's a detective story, kind of like a detective noir type of story. It's like a kind of a horror book too. There's this detective who has a box that it's just like a wooden box, but whenever he opens it, he pulls out whatever he needs or whatever he wants. And that sounds pretty cool in that, but it's very horrific. But
Mr.
in
Dress Up
addition,
Tickle Trunk.
well, kind of, but imagine it's almost, but it's mixed with like the puzzle box from Hellraiser. So towards the end of the book, he's opening it up, or someone else trying to open it up, or there's actually another box that they encounter from somebody else, and they end up with like stuff from the Hellraiser stuff, where chains and stuff are all flying and out. Um, so he has this box, and everybody's after him to get this box. The government's after him. The mob is after him. Just no shady, like supernatural people are after him, all to get this box. But this is issue #1, and he's already in like an interrogation room during the cops and stuff like that, being interrogated about a murder that already happened. And in the title page, they give a recap to all this. So I don't know when this happened already, like, because this is issue #1. So I don't know if there was like there's like an ashcan for this first, or a preview issue, or it was like in a premiere book with a bunch of other stories that were all just kind of starting points, or what. So that's the only thing that disappointed me about it, because everything else was actually really, really cool.
Scott seems to like the idea of a demonic tickle trunk.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. It's pretty neat though.
All right, and then we'll go on to our last book before we jump in just to random conversation is Second Chances. And this one has some really cool cover art. I like the ones that are just sort of like two-tone, right? You have black and white, kind of like what they've done with some of those black and white, or black, white, and red, or black, white, and blood, whatever those. I like that style, and this cover has that red. It really pops. Even the title itself really pops. And
Yeah.
Tony just popped in. He says, "Sup, guys."
Hey guys. Well, then you would really like the inside then, because this book is another one which I didn't know until opening it is black and white, which I thought was a little strange, being a comic from Image. But you got Second Chances, one from Image. You got Ricky Mamoni doing the writing, and you got Alex Bertoloni doing the art. And again, like I said, it is black and white, which in my case, I don't mind a black and white comic. But I know a lot of people feel like when they're buying a black and white comic, they don't know about it. They're getting ripped off. But I think it's a good thing, because then you have to focus
it's
on
done
the
nice
story.
and the art itself is good, not for myself, I don't like mangas or anime style comics, because I find there's so much going on that you need the color to really define it and to really help you, and I find it quite distracting.
In this book, you don't even worry about that, because again, it's kind of a detective book too. So again, it fits in with that whole detective broody noir feeling.
Yeah.
So what this is, it's a guy who has a business called Second Chances, where he gives people kind of like witness protection program treatment. So, but it's not evil people. He tries to help out, pretty decent people. So he gets a former, I would say, I guess they kind of lead that it's a former client, but they don't really say for sure. I guess they kind of do. And they say a former client calls him up and he's in trouble and he needs him to do the whole, second chance thing again. And he tells him that he can't do that, doesn't happen. So he ends up, he can tell this guy's pretty frantic, so he ends up heading over to see him. He ends up breaking one of his first rules is like not to get involved with stuff without knowing all the information right away and stuff like that, because it's just too much to risk and gamble. So by the time he gets over there, the guy's dead and somebody else is there, and this guy's kind of all wrapped up in it now. So it looks like even the person who kills the guy or has him killed has a history with this guy too. So again, it's too early to say what's going on in that, but it's kind of neat with the fact that this guy he goes around and he's like a fixer. If somebody's in trouble, he gets them out of there and sets up a new identity for them, or if people need to disappear because them being around is a threat to their family, he helps them disappear so the family won't be threatened in that. So he tries to do good things in that, but he seems to gets to be wrapped up in something pretty sinister here. So we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, and everyone likes a good detective story, and there seems to be more and more of those jumping into the indie scene. And actually, even kind of DC, they're not doing so much detective, but they've got that Alfred comic, right? It's a little bit more spy, something a little bit more indie tone. So
Yeah,
it's nice to see a wide variety across everything, but you mainly see it in the indies. So obviously, that's where all the good stuff is.
Yeah.
And then Terrence joined about a minute or two ago and says, "Real comic fans buy black and white."
Mm-hmm.
And that's true. Some of the best comics, even the old Punisher magazines, the taller ones, right? Those are all black and white, and they're wicked stories.
Like I was saying, like if you can have a black and white comic or a magazine and people enjoy it, that means the story was pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. Because you don't have the color and all that to buffer it all. So it has to be good art no matter what. It has to be a great story, because there's lots of books that have crappy stories but just nice artwork, colorful and stuff like that. But again, some people don't like black and white at all. So.
Mentioning Punisher makes me think, I'm surprised he hasn't gotten one of those black, white, and blood type comics, because that would be sweet. Punisher does really well in black and white, just in a more adult format. And you get some red in there for, the blood, and just even background coloring. It would look sweet. Imagine like neon light behind him, big red light. That would look awesome.
From what I've heard, in recent years, the Marvel doesn't like putting out so much Punisher stuff because of all the gun. It's all gun related,
Yeah.
and and
They
that's
like
the
him
reason
being a
why
supporting character, but even then they use him very sparingly.
nowadays, because it's nobody can be have guns and stuff
Yeah.
nowadays. Like that's why you see things like Moon Knight, your Deadpool and Cable and stuff like that. None of it's bullets and guns. It's
Yeah.
all like ninja style or blasters or whatever. So yeah, that's
Yeah.
the reason why we don't see Punisher.
Ashley says Punisher, blood, blood, and blood.
It would just be that. It
Yeah.
should be. It should be blood, skulls, and brass. Like for spent brass from a gun.
See, and I think with how DC is doing even their black label titles, Marvel should be doing something similar. I know they're a little bit more family friendly with most titles, but I think they're missing out. They were doing great with their Marvel Knights brand back in the 2000s. I don't know why they don't have something like that currently. It's a perfect time for it. That's what people want. That's
Different
why
people
people
run
are
it.
going to
That's all.
indies. But
That's why everyone's leaving
that
and going to Substack.
yeah, everyone's going to Substack. Everybody's going to that Substack. And
I
I
just
guess
saw
we've sort of gotten
yesterday
into our sort of rambling, so I'll transition the picture over to one of our next topics. But you can continue there.
about. I saw yesterday that they were talking like now that uh, Tinian's read Substack and how Hickman had gone just a little bit before and nobody had mentioned it too much. But they announced yesterday that Hickman's going to be leaving the X-Men books like right away too. So like all that
Yeah,
X-Men stuff they had planned is just not going to happen now.
yeah. And we were
So
just
what?
talking with Scott was last week about the Hickman run, and he's been catching up, and he says he's loving it. Hickman's doing an awesome job with it. So that kind of surprised me even because I don't necessarily care too much for X-Men, but X-Men seem to be doing almost better than they've been doing since the 90s when things were doing really, really well for them. So that came as a bit of a shock. Just almost like Tinian leaving DC, going directly to that Substack.
And it's because that they feel like when they're at those comics like Marvel and DC, they don't get to write or produce the stuff that they want. They have to kind of produce some stuff that they are told to produce,
Mm-hmm.
which is they don't want to do that. You can't be leashed down by that nowadays. There's just too many platforms and too many more options that you don't have to be stuck in by those people. So
Yeah, and then tying in with like all the oversight and company interference from the big two is leading into these Walmart packs that we're seeing now. And I've got the cover up there for Gleason's 1 in 50 for Amazing Spider-Man, the second print, and people are finding that in Walmart packs.
perfect segue.
How is
That
a
was
1
very
in
nice.
50 showing up in what's essentially a modern day Whitman?
Well, yeah, and I
And
was the one
actual
like
store exclusives too, without their knowledge and consent.
yeah, I've been hearing about it for a few days now on a few podcasts, and I was happened to be in Walmart last night, and I saw some of I knew they were the ones that they were talking about. So I picked up a couple, and I opened it when I got home, and I was talking to Tyler as I was doing it. And I said, "Oh, I picked this up because I heard that they got the 1 in 50 in there, which Tyler has on screen." And sure enough, I saw it in there, and it was in there right away. So I had that, and we're in Winnipeg, so I posted that online to a couple of our Winnipeg Facebook sites, and within minutes, guys were running out. And all last night and all through the day today, I've had people responding to those two posts that they're finding them all over the place, and it is kind of crazy. Some of the books that are out there, I've seen that.
Like
Um,
some of the really good store exclusives are popping up in
well,
there.
yeah, not even just like store exclusive, but like again, these ratios, like a 1 in 10 or a 1 in 15 or 1 in 5. If you find one of those, that's it's cool, but it's not a big deal.
But
But we're
should they
finding,
be put in every pack that's labeled like that though? I
well,
think it should be even more special. You get a blind pack and oh yeah, I
well,
got a 1 in 10. That's like pulling a rare card or a foil card out of your Pokemon or Magic
well,
deck.
yeah, exactly,
It
and
shouldn't be
and
a
also
pack standard.
that some of the books that are being pulled out there now, which were put in there by accident, are high ratios, like 1 in 50, 1 in 100, 1 in 500. I think there was 1 in 1,000 as well too. And then you're getting ones too, like secret hidden gem ones like Thor #1 that was like 1 in 1,000.
Yeah,
You know, and again the Peach Momoko Demon Days 1 in 500. It's like these are $500 books. They're being mashed into these. They're not in bags and boards. These
they're not
Walmart bags.
packaged nicely.
No, they're just in
They're in.
heat shrink wrapped.
Yeah,
They're just jammed on the card shells, like the sports cards and Pokemon shells. So they're all bent up to begin with. It's just a waste. And like Tyler was saying too, that not just these Walmart versions or these ratios and that you're getting store exclusives put in there, or exclusives right from the artist's website, like
yeah.
those Gleason ones are showing up there, and not just Marvel ratios, but ones straight from his website. And those books are supposed to be limited to like 2 or 3 thousand with the COA. Well, then they're showing up in these Marvel packs. Well, now they've just devalued that book completely, and then people are going to start wondering, well, is this COA even worth it now? Like, so
Well,
again, it's
and
opening up a whole big mistake.
Gleason's one of their hottest artists right now. So for them to sort of be burning him like that, that's
But
not going to bode well. He's got
and
another one coming up for, I believe it's Amazing Spider-Man 75 or around there. Maybe it's one of the Spider-Man titles in the next couple months, and
yeah,
it's again going to be one of the hotter ones because spoilers, stuff is going to happen in that one, and it's going to be a decent key-ish because someone else is going to take over as Spider-Man for who knows
it
how
just
long.
proves that like why would these artists want to stick around to these companies when they're just being treated like crap like this, right? So I mean, like, yeah, that's why these people are leaving, going to independents or these Substacks and stuff. It's just crazy, and also too, like it just proves that Diamond did this mistake, not Marvel, nah. So
Yeah.
that's another reason why they're leaving. Diamond is done by I think November or December by Marvel. They start going to Penguin, and that's why DC left from them like that. Like you can't just have stupid mistakes like that, and those mistakes cost a lot of money.
And yeah, and that's another thing too. Diamond is burning a lot of people, whether it's books arriving late, books arriving all damaged. There's that retailer out of Ontario, Captain Comics, and they're great. We've been using them for years, and they've been doing 2 years, I guess. And they say almost every couple of weeks, oh, we didn't get this one, it didn't show up, but next week's books are here, or all of these ones are damaged, we'll have to get replacements. And that too, I don't understand how Diamond can let stuff go with that. I don't know how they're just sending them bare in boxes.
Well, and that's the thing too. It's not just regular books being damaged. It's like the ratios and the high end books, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I watch another podcast where a guy deals out of Phoenix, and he got his books delivered to him from Diamond, where his high end ratios and stuff like that were actually in a Geminite or a Gemkin box, and they were damaged in the box in the Gemkin. So that means they were damaged before they got put in. So again, that just proves that they don't care, right? So.
Yeah, and that's something that Taz had brought up a while back. He got a book back from CGC, and it's totally off topic, but the box itself was fine, but the book, the actual case inside, was already cracked. No damage on the box, whatever. And it's kind of just a lack of quality control, or they just don't care. And it's the places that really should be taking the care. Yeah, we go to Walmart, and it's a shitty wrap job. That's what we expect. Walmart, they're not great. But places like the CGC and Diamond, if you're any distributor like that, they should be taking a lot more care.
Yeah, like in this situation here, it's not Walmart's fault with these books. They just they just take a bunch of books that are given to them and they just package them and sell them out, like comic stores or value packs have been doing for generations. But what's weird with these new ones, or with this last batch of Marvel stuff, is that it's books that are like only a month or two old. Because the one where I pulled out the Spider-Man 1 in 50 there, that was Star Wars High Republic from just last month.
Yeah, and that's it too. They were brand new stuff.
Yeah, so and then the X-Men one from just like we reviewed that book like on our second weekend. We've only done like 4 or 5 episodes. So again, these are brand new books that are going in there. It's not like it's books that are a couple of years old and that.
And
so
Ashley's even saying like directly from a comic store owner that damaged variants, especially are almost a weekly occurrence for him even. So it's not
Hmm.
secluded to just, this area, this area. It's affecting everybody.
Oh yeah, I can vouch for what Ashley's saying too, because I've been there, plenty of a Tuesday evening when he's getting ready for Wednesday, helping read through the books and stuff, and get ready for our show because we like to do it as fast as possible as soon as the books come out. And yeah, it's every week there's, and it's not just a some ratio that nobody wants. It's a ratio that people want, and if it's damaged and he can't sell it that day, when he does maybe get it replaced, it's not hot anymore. So he doesn't get to make that cash off it. So again, it's like, why even bother order these if I can't sell them? So again, it's very frustrating. And it makes me frustrating too because I like to, get those ratios. So
Well, and you think you have to order so many. If you're getting a 1 in 50, you have to
oh,
order 50 of a book that might sell, might not, but you're doing it for that one ratio, and then that ratio is destroyed. It's
yeah,
just, it's such a kick in the place where the sun don't shine for comic shop owners and for
yeah,
collectors too.
yeah. It's not fair for everybody. So hopefully with them switching some distributors, that'll help. And just I don't know how you can fix that. I don't know because
That's that's
what they're
that's
going to say
above
is
my pay grade. I just know I want it fixed.
I agree.
But
All right,
I
we should do every week. We're gonna do a little weekly rant about something, and I wanted to talk about the Walmart ones because I had been seeing it a lot the last few days, and like I said, I did happen to see the books at Walmart, and I caused a little frenzy here in the comic book community in the last couple of days with it. So I wanted to talk about it. So
yeah,
next week, if you guys want to put little, want to throw in some suggestions on what we should rant about, you can do that as well too with your suggestions of books that we want to review. So.
yeah, suggestions for books or suggestions for stuff just to chat about like this. Lately, it seems there's a bomb dropped for the comic community every 2 or 3 days, so there's no shortage of anything to talk about lately. It seems.
I
Um,
agree.
and Ashley's saying King Spawn next week, and absolutely, that's one that we were talking about a couple weeks ago that we were definitely going to cover. So that's
Yeah,
absolutely one of the ones on the list.
for sure. I thought that came out this week, but I must have saw I was wrong. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to King Spawn next week.
But that's our time. We don't want to go too far over or too close to an hour because that's a long show. I can only talk for so much.
One thing I would like to throw out there real fast is I was talking with Ashley tonight. And I had a little brainstorm. Is that from now on, starting next week, that the books that we review on the show here, we will make available at Ashley's shop. We're going to put up like little placards saying this book was reviewed on Nat Daddy Collectibles every week. So don't worry if you can't remember when you walk in the next day that they'll be labeled there too. So something to check out.
Yeah. So we'll see you all next week, and till then, stay frosty. We got to come up with a bit of a catchphrase.
I have a catchphrase. It's always "Peace out, mofo's." I've been saying that for years.
Alrighty, we'll talk to you guys later.
Peace out, mofo's.